So United lost to Brighton at Old Trafford yesterday, 3-1, bringing an end to the 31-game unbeaten run, which had existed pretty much throughout the reign of Erik ten Hag, and was one of the real sort of shining lights of Manchester United. We had, after the first game, made Old Trafford a fortress. We'd beaten Liverpool there, Arsenal there, Manchester City there. We took care of Barcelona. It was beginning to be a place where you could rely on United to pick up 3 points. And the start of this season, okay, we had won our games at home. We hadn't performed, but we had won our games at home. And then Brighton come to town and take all our points off us. Here's 5 things that we learned watching United against Brighton yesterday. So in at number 1 then, Brighton's football. It has to be discussed because I think it's getting a lot of praise, and it should, because it's excellent. But I thought it was very interesting yesterday, and I don't know necessarily how much United's shape played into it. I'm going to talk about the shape a little bit later on. But I'll talk about the build-up for the second goal. For Gross's goal, I believe they had 27 passes in that move, and it was brilliant. They was coming together in nice little triangles of 3 where they would just knock it around, one touch. Yeah, you have it, you have it, you have it, you have it. And then at the same time, they're looking for where the gaps are. They spread it out wide left. They bring it back across the centre of the box. United haven't picked up the numbers well. Gross shapes up to shoot. It's an excellent do. I think that might be the most impressive thing about all of it is you're in front of the United fans. You've got the opportunity to double Brighton's lead. It's the end of this brilliant move that you've done so far, and the composure to be able to just pause and then take your shot. Oh, that was something else. And he's a fucking pain in the arse for United. He always finds a way to do something against us. He's an extremely effective player. Another one that they've got at Brighton. But also, I want to talk about how they rarely enter the opposition half. They play so much football in their own half, and they draw the opposition high up to create space in behind them. And I'm fascinated with it. I'm obsessed with it at the moment. I'm obsessed with seeing, like, does it translate to grassroots? I'm obsessed with seeing what you can achieve with this. Like, football is a copycat league. Someone does something, everyone goes, fucking that's a good idea. And then everybody starts doing it. But it's the whys. Why are we doing whatever we're doing? Now, it might have been created as an antidote to a low block. But also think that now people in a low block are pretty happy for you to have the ball in your half, and they won't come out and pressure if they've got the discipline. Gross had 100 passes attempted yesterday. He only completed 98. Fucking amateur. He completed 98 out of 100 passes, but it was only about 15, 16 or so that were in United's half. They were all in his own half. And Van Heck had 102 passes attempted. I mean, he was sloppy as hell with it. I mean, he only completed 98 himself. And obviously, like, they're very, very short passes. They're all within his half. In fact, have a look at this. This is Brighton's entire pass map, and you can just see how much football they play in their own half. And what is it, like 18, 20% maybe is in United's half. Then you look at United's, and I find this actually really fascinating. So you can see United's pass map here on the screen. To me, it looks like that you can see the lines going laterally across the pitch where United have decided to hold and then knock it side to side a little bit. It's like every 10 metres or so, particularly over the centre of the pitch. I find both of the patterns created by each team's passing genuinely fascinating. You know, United, you can see this spread with a lot more longer balls, and you can see Brighton have just decided to, they've just decided to keep it in their half until the time to strike is on, and fair play to them. They didn't, dominate United with loads of shots. They chose the right time to break. They broke, and they scored their goals, and they were fantastic with it. All credit to them. And all credit to the fact that, this is a team built on a shoestring that consistently loses year after year, loses its best players and just keeps chugging along. The system really is king. And Graham Potter did a phenomenal job there. It's enough to get the Chelsea job very temporarily. But De Zerbi's taken it to a whole nother level. Like, they're so good with it. Like, I think if they entered Europe, you'd find them probably in the quarters or semi-finals in Europe. I have no qualms in saying that whatsoever, because I think they're that good. Champions League, I'm talking. They're phenomenally good. And I think I said this in the review yesterday with Scotty, but they need studying. Someone at United needs to be going and hacking, spying, doing whatever we need to do at Brighton to go, how are they doing this? But that would take owners that have got a desire to see the club be successful and not just keep it alive while they fucking milk it. Number 2, I saw Rashford getting a lot of stick for his pressing yesterday, and I'd actually missed the thing about it that was really irking people. I missed part of the first half. And yeah, they were right. It weren't good enough. I think, without a pun, I think a more pressing concern is probably the lack of creation from him, though. Because Marcus had 9 shots, and he was deadly looking in the first half. He looked like he was going to be United's outlet, and it looked like, the overlaps that were coming through, especially from Reguilon, were really hurting Brighton. And Marcus in particular was penetrating the box, dribbling, and he looked like he was getting into some excellent positions with the ball. There's been times where Marcus has just been starved of the ball altogether, barely gets anything, and is asked to score a goal from 1 shot. And that wasn't the case yesterday. 9 shots is a hell of a lot of shots to be having in a single game. You expect him to find the back of the net at some point in those. And he only created 1 chance. Now, him and Howson were playing as a bit of a partnership, and Howson did what, an hour or so? Howson created 2 in that time. And I think Howson was looking to create more. But there were opportunities where Marcus had the chance to be able to play Howson in, who was in a better, more central position, and he chose to try and shoot himself on his weaker foot. That needs addressing. Someone needs to pull him aside in the analysis today or tomorrow and be like, listen, you got to play him in there. It's as simple as that. I don't mind selfish forwards. They feed on goals. Ruud van Nistelrooy will rather let you run through his misses than pass you a ball. He wants to score the goal. That's what good forwards thrive on. That's their mentality. But he should have passed some of those yesterday. And I think it's important to know when to play somebody else in who's in a better chance. The team is more important. And I think he should have played Howson in on more opportunities than he did yesterday. And his shooting wasn't at it. After 4 or 5, maybe he's thinking, okay, one of these should have gone in, and maybe he's right. But he probably should have played him in a lot more. Number 3, formation change. So United yesterday came out of the gate in a 4-4-2 diamond, which is a formation I don't mind. There's a lot of circumstances where I think it's an excellent formation. But it's a formation we haven't seen once. Erik ten Hag in all of his Manchester United games has played 4-2-3-1. We didn't see it on pre-season. We've never really hinted at playing it in any sort of way, shape or form. So why now? Why Brighton? Why Brighton at home? Why the lack of a right winger? Do you clearly not trust Garnacho or Palestri or even Bruno maybe to fill in on the right wing? It felt like my 3 choices to play right wing are in the doghouse in Spain or on Bale or whatever the fuck it is Anthony's situation is. Like, it felt like I've lost all my options for this side. I'm going to play a new formation. And I don't like that because I want Ten Hag to stay true to Ten Hag. And Ten Hag clearly wants to play 4-2-3-1. Now, on one hand, maybe the change in formation actually, I'm going to say worked, but you know what I mean, because it didn't really work. But it worked initially. Maybe Brighton had prepared for United to play 4-2-3-1 because, I don't know, the evidence suggested United was going to play 4-2-3-1, 60-plus games, or 4-2-3-1. Safe bet, United are going to play 4-2-3-1, right? Well, obviously we didn't. So maybe the fact that De Zerbi and his analysis team in the first half didn't actually know what to deal with. And when you go back to that pass map, you see that United were extremely solid through the middle of the pitch. I don't think they quite knew their roles as the ball entered our box, or people stopped running thinking, oh, we got 4 midfielders on the pitch, some fucker will pick him up, and then actually didn't. But we packed the centre of the pitch real nice, and maybe that was one of the reasons why Brighton played all of their football in their own half. Maybe United's midfield 4 was doing a good job at repelling Brighton and not allowing them to play through us like they want to do. Maybe it gave us a different platform for pressing, and maybe those angles that it created from a defensive point of view seemed to work. Now, in the second half, Brighton figured it out, and as soon as we conceded, United appeared to give up, which is fucking inexcusable. But I don't know. I don't know. He's not going to tell you, because obviously he wants to have that tactical advantage to having secrets and stuff. But it was, when I say it was working, we clogged up Brighton in terms of passing, certainly in the first half. They didn't really penetrate through the middle of the pitch at all. And Delo and Reguilon were getting forward. And when I think about what Delo offers over Wan-Bissaka, who supposedly had an illness, but I didn't notice as I'm trying to think about why he's done this during the game and before the game. I'm thinking, like, Wan-Bissaka against Matoma is an absolute tapping of a decision. And he's not gone with that. Turns out Wan-Bissaka was ill. Okay, makes sense why he wanted Delo then. Also makes sense why we're all thinking, oh, you don't need another left back. You can just play Delo there. Luke Shaw, that's going to be back. Malacia will be back. Yeah, all right, fair enough. Point proven on that one. I thought Delo and Reguilon were raiding, because the 4-2-3-1 gives you people who can fill in for a fullback. It means you can get a fullback overlapping, and I think Brighton struggled to cope with that at times. So I think on one hand, tactically, United looked all right in a formation they didn't know. Defensively, as it entered our third, I think it did crumble. You look at the first goal, McTominay just stops running. What are you doing? You know, +1 is a defensive principle that every single person knows. So as the ball breaks into the line of United's box from the right-hand side, I think it's 3v3 or 4v4. Well, someone needs to get back deeper and slide in and make it +1. Casemiro goes and gets physical with Welbeck, then ball watches, and Welbeck runs off him. McTominay doesn't communicate, doesn't pick him up. He stops running. You know, Delo is the far side. One of the jobs of the far side fullback when the ball's on the opposite side of the pitch is to fucking commentate what's going on. You know, Cass, Welbeck's just pulled off you. Matt, get in there. Like, Martinez, right shoulder. Just be a turbo gobshite in that area. These are the details and the information that has to be fed across a backline when the ball's being played in. That's how when people talk about defensive, he's a good organiser, that's what they're talking about. Someone that's going to come in and do that sort of shit. And it was clearly lacking for United yesterday, because all of the goals were quite similar, really. They all came from a wide area, came across the middle of the pitch, where your 4 midfielders that should be more than enough to clog it up have either gone too far, in the case of McTominay with the gross goal, had gone all the way over to the fullback. Why are you getting in like, you don't need to be there. Trust him. And go and pick up a space. Go and get somebody else. Go and pick up another man. Like, when the ball goes past you, how about fucking busting a gut to go back and get in the right position? Not good enough from a defensive third point of view. Up until the defensive third, United looked like we were creating chances, and we looked like we were quite solid. In the defensive third, that was where it crumbled for me. I wonder if we'll see it again, because the things that went wrong were basic things that the lads should be able to fix. It wasn't like structural, this formation will never work. I wonder if we'll see it again. I wonder if that's why Mount and Amrabat and Casemiro and Bruno and McTominay and even Mabry, you know, put himself in the mixer yesterday with a goal like that. I wonder if that's what he's going to flip to, with the abundance of midfield and lack of attacking threat. Interesting, right? Number 4, Ten Hag. Now, in his press conference, when he was asked about, you know, how he feels about the game, which is a fucking mental question to be asking. He says, we have to be disappointed and annoyed at ourselves. We will turn this, but there is demand on us. We started well, we created chances, and we have to deal better with that setback. Yeah, I think he's alluding to the fact that heads went down and there wasn't really a bit of a fight from United. And I have to wonder how much of the off-field issues are starting to creep in. You know, there's the Anthony, the Greenwood, the Sancho, even Ronaldo, Maguire. There's an absolute fucking circus around Manchester United at the moment. And he alluded into his press conference on Friday that he's been brought in to install a little bit of discipline at the club. And I think he has gone about doing that. But Christ on a bike, this is a club in crisis with the... I mean, like, the fact that we put out a statement a day last week. Like, fuck me. It's a decade's worth of statements in a week. You know, that's a lot for a manager to have to deal with. You know, how many times do you think he walked in and people just saw him in his office with his head balanced on his desk just going, fuck me, what is going on here? He spent money, of course he has. But he's also lost a lot of players. And it's not necessarily about the money spent. It's about how many players can you recruit. You know, we still need more. This club is badly run. I think the off-field stuff is really creeping onto the pitch in terms of the problems. Training can't be happy at the moment, clearly. Hopefully we're too busy with football over the next few months for it to really fester and have an impact. Let's get some momentum going with the football. Which brings me to number 5. Like, what now? Well, Bayern this week really is not like an opportunity for an easy bounce back, is it? Currently unbeaten in Bundesliga. They had a tough game on Friday against Leverkusen, which was a draw right at the death. They've had a little bit longer rest, an extra 24 hours or so rest over United. They haven't got the travel. We haven't got the away form. Like, what next? Well, yeah. United has stuttered badly this season. There's no two ways around it. You know, whether that's hangover from the number of games last season, whether it's hangover from pre-season, whether that's because the recruitment didn't happen correctly. We brought in players who weren't fucking available to us in Højlund and Amrabat. It's just an absolute shit show at the moment, isn't it? This would be the opportunity. This would be the one. If you could go and, like, I don't think we've seen a performance yet from United or Erik ten Hag where we have tactically won a game on the back foot. Like, Ollie used to get a load of shit for this. It's just counter-attacking football. Okay, well, if everyone could do that, why don't they do that? It's fucking hard to do. So I would love this to go and be a fucking on the back foot, 1-0, smash and grab counter-attacking win, because this United team doesn't know how to do that. And I would love for them to learn how to do that, because it's a massive fucking trait. So many times I saw Sir Alex Ferguson, Manchester United, go somewhere and play for a 0-0. He says he never played for 0-0, but he fucking did, right? You know, and stink the place out a little bit, play on the back foot, try and grab something with one of our pacey forwards. This is where you go do that. The Allianz Arena, Bayern Munich, this is where you do that. There is no shame in going, they're better than us. We're going to sit on the back foot in this game, because that's what you should do. That is absolutely what you should do against Bayern Munich. And it'd be a great way to kickstart this next phase of the season for us, because by fuck do we need to kickstart it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.